This is the Kestrel Country Podcast, where we discuss the people, places, and events all around Kestrel Country. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Kestrel Country Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Church, joined here once again by my co-host and lovely wife, Catherine.
Hello, hello.
And it's almost Christmas.
It is, and we're doing another one. We have
After
been
Thanksgiving.
Really hit and miss on the
It's
podcast.
a Christmas episode, which is fun.
It is.
So hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We certainly did. And it's fun to start talking about Christmas on the podcast. This would be our first Christmas
This is our first
podcast,
we're
really,
coming
isn't
up
it?
on a year for podcasting. We started January of this year, so we're coming up on the year. But this is our first Christmas season.
Yeah, it's awesome. And obviously fewer events this year going on.
But there are some things coming up this weekend and this week.
What's that?
So there's a play being put on. It's a Wonderful Life. That's put on Wednesday and Thursday this week. 7:00 p.m. at All Souls Church. And then this weekend, there's the live drive-through nativity put on by Living Faith Fellowship over in Pullman. I'm not sure on the days there, so just take a look online.
Google that.
Google it.
Good. Well, and Christmas tree cutting always happens this time of year, but as we found out from our interview today,
they're sold
seemed
out.
like it was earlier.
Yep.
And the family, Spring Valley family tree farm out there is out of Christmas trees already, which is crazy.
It is crazy.
But it was fun to have the Brucevins on to hear about their Christmas tree farm, their daffodils, their blueberries.
They're doing a lot more than just Christmas trees
all kinds of stuff. And clearly it was fun to hear their passion for the farm, for the community, the area, and most of all the people.
Yes.
Just creating those experiences, those memories with folks around the area. So
and they're located, Spring Valley Tree Farm, Family Tree Farm. It's out by Troy.
On Spring Valley Road.
Yep.
So, and we'll put a link to their website or whatever information we have so that you can find them and go out there, create memories. And you'll have to stay tuned for close to the end when the real shaming comes about our artificial
don't
Christmas
you gave it
tree
away.
in our living room.
You already gave it away.
But it's good. We'll be out there next year. Thanks, guys. How's this year been for you guys Christmas tree wise? Nuts?
Nuts. Out of this world. We had no idea what was going to happen. I started getting an inkling when people were calling the first week in November wanting Christmas trees. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
This is strange. This has never happened before. And then they were begging us to come cut a tree. We're like, no, we really don't think you should. It's not going to last till Christmas. And they're like, oh, we didn't think about that. And then we normally do open up the weekend before Thanksgiving because there's a handful of people that want their tree before Thanksgiving. Well, this year we had 50 people come and cut their tree before Thanksgiving.
Wow.
And it was like, okay, something's going on here. What is going on? And then that weekend after Thanksgiving, we sold 2/3 of our trees.
Wow.
We're gone. And this weekend.
The weekend you said before or just after?
Sorry,
just after Thanksgiving.
Just after Thanksgiving.
Wow.
So that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we've never had a weekend like that. It was phenomenal. And then we're like, oh my goodness, we're gonna have to close early. And one more the following Saturday, we had maxed our limit, and we were like, we're gonna have to close in the middle of a weekend because we don't have enough trees to even go through Sunday.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So are you sold
we
out?
should probably.
We are.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess we should back up a little bit
Yeah.
and have you introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
I kind of got a little too excited, jumped in.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Well, my name is Paul Brucevin, and this is my wife, Annette Brucevin.
Yeah, and so tell us about your Christmas tree farm. So it's Spring Valley Christmas Tree Farm?
Spring Valley Family Tree Farm.
Family Tree Farm, okay.
Yeah, and it started off with my husband and I and our 2 kids. And the reason, I guess, even going back a little further, why we even got into Christmas trees was my parents still have a Christmas tree
Oh, really?
farm. Yeah.
Oh, where?
Up on Lake Coeur d'Alene out of Harrison.
Okay.
And so I grew up, planting trees, pruning trees, and it was fun for me. I loved it. Never thought that I would have my own farm, but I enjoyed working on the farm. And when we got married, and I don't know what actually, we just started thinking about it, like, man, it'd be really fun to do that again. But the one thing we wanted to change was my parents' farm was a wholesale farm. It was too far from Coeur d'Alene. It's about 45-minute drive from Coeur d'Alene.
Okay.
Nobody would come. They didn't think anybody would come that far to get a tree. So it was all wholesale. People would come in, they'd cut the trees, they'd go to lots in Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls, and we thought, well, if we're going to do this, we want people to come to our farm. We both love people, and we're like, that is the fun part. That's what makes it, enjoyable for us. So we looked and looked, and I don't know how many years we spent looking for the right piece of property, and finally found it, and here we are. That was 2004. We bought that property and started planting trees in 2005, and harvested our first trees in 2012, and have grown ever since.
Oh, wow.
So it didn't have trees on it?
Not a one.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. And so it
Not a
took,
one.
let's see, I'm not
7
great
years.
at math. About 7 years to get them to be the right size.
About 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
It takes to
Yeah,
get
in
Okay.
2012, our first year, we harvested 30 trees. So
Okay.
there was a few that were the right size, but most of the trees take 8 to 10 years.
So how many
Wow.
did you begin by planting? Back in 2005?
Yeah.
We're planting about 1,000 trees a year.
Okay.
So we figured if
Wow.
we had at least 10 new plantings every year, we'll be in a full rotation. And that'll keep us at a sustainable level. So, and we're actually expanding some of the sizes of our fields so we can, because of the demand is pretty high, especially right now. With this COVID thing, you would think, a lot of the small businesses are kind of getting put out of business
Right.
because of a lot of the governmental regulations. But I think we're in that perfect niche where people can go and still enjoy the outside, and they're ready to get out of their little cave or their little cabin and get out and breathe some fresh air. So I think that's what we're seeing. A lot of people enjoying doing things outside. It's safe. It's free air that we can breathe, and just have a good time as family and friends out there.
It sounds like
Yeah.
everybody was so ready to get Christmas decorations up. I noticed driving into town on the roundabouts, a house had lit up really early this year. I understand.
Oh, yeah.
Get the lights out.
Well, I know I'm usually one of those strict, like, Christmas doesn't start till after Thanksgiving first. I'll tell my kids, hey, turn off that Christmas music. It's not time yet.
Grinch
And this
until
year I was
Christmas.
like, you know what? Let it play. Like,
Yeah.
let's get this party
Get the
started.
celebration going.
Yeah. Well, and it didn't hurt that we got a snowstorm blizzard in October.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
We launched into sledding early,
Yeah, so we
which was
did.
weird this year.
Yeah.
But I loved it. The kids loved it.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
Yeah. We have our big pumpkin festival in October, and the night before that's when we got the 6 inches of snow. The electricity went out,
Oh,
everything
no.
went out, and the next day we're like, oh, here we go. We had no electricity, we had 6 inches of snow, and we had a massive turnout. People were digging pumpkins out of the snow and sledding and just having a great time. So it was
So
fun.
tell us a little bit about the pumpkin festival, because we've been out there with the kids for the field trip in the past,
Oh, okay.
and that's really fun. And then you had the little maze for the kids, which was a blast. I think that was just last year that we got to do that with first graders from Logos. But how do you do the pumpkin festival, and how many pumpkins do you bring in?
Well, that has grown every year as well. This is our 5th year doing it. At first, we did bring in all the pumpkins. We bring in when we first did it, we brought in 600 and 1,000. And then we're like, I wonder if we can grow these ourselves. We started, last year was the first year we tried growing them ourselves, and they did okay. So then this year we improved. And so we grew about 600 pumpkins this year, and then we brought in another 800 to 900 of them.
Wow.
It was a lot of fun. So we call it the pumpkin hunt. And we wanted to, that's actually Paul's idea. And when he first said, oh, we should do a pumpkin hunt, I'm like, are you, what? what? Are you crazy? And actually we started thinking about it, and no one else had done anything like that, where we take the pumpkins and we hide them in our Christmas trees, and we thought that'd be kind of fun. So yeah, it's taken off. It's a big hit. We've added some like the maze, the straw bale maze, and we last year Paul built what do you call it, the giant slingshot, and that's kind of fun. And we originally thought we would shoot pumpkins, but then it's like, that's kind of expensive. We don't want to. You
It
know,
could get a little dangerous. out there.
yeah, dangerous and
Chunking pumpkins.
expensive. So we use tennis balls instead.
Oh,
but
fun.
It's still fun. And
So it's kind of expanding beyond Christmas then on the farm, because I also saw you were planting tulip bulbs,
yes,
right?
Yes. Actually, daffodils.
Daffodils. Okay.
Yes. Well, our goal is to, as you know, Christmas trees is a once a year thing,
Right.
and we need money coming in all year round, and we want this to be our sole. We're trying to get Paul retired so the farm can support us. So we have to add things
Yeah.
year round.
Yeah.
So we're slowly adding. We're hoping probably 2 years out to add a summer festival. We call it Summer Blues Fest, and we'd have our blueberries and lavender and a blues band, and that kind of thing.
wow.
That's
That
been
would
in my
be-
mind for a year now, and I'm like, but it's a couple years down the road probably for that. But yeah, the daffodils will be a spring thing, and then also a fall thing, because they need to be lifted every 2 to 3 years and separate the bulbs separated, and then we'll have bulbs to sell in the fall and fresh cut flowers in the spring.
Oh, fun.
Wow.
Will it be a you pick, or will this be a you guys cut right now? And
It may go into a U pick. I've
Okay.
had people ask me that, and I think that'd be fun.
Right.
So probably both. Yeah.
and then blueberries. So are you already growing the blueberry patches for that festival too? Okay.
Yeah, we've had a U pick blueberries for 4 or 5 years now.
Oh wow.
And we're expanding. We're putting another field in.
Oh,
Because
great.
it was kind of just an experiment to see if they would grow here.
Right.
And they do well.
And they've done well.
That's great.
So we're going to expand.
Oh, that's exciting. The you pick berries. I mean, I don't really think of a lot of places locally where we can go to pick berries. So that's a really exciting addition.
So how many acres, how big is your farm to support
So we got-
10,000 trees?
Well, we
Is
got
that what you-
29 and a half acres, and
Okay.
our house sits on about 2 acres. So, and we have a big red barn. That's kind of grand central for us. A lot of operations, and that was a big selling point for the property because we bought it as bare ground. It was this a horse ranch.
Oh, wow.
So we turned all the pastures now it's a tree ranch now. So and blueberry ranch
And all
a
these-
daffodil ranch and a pumpkin ranch.
Yes.
So it's a lot of fun. As we kind of keep venturing into the different things, it's for us. It creates more excitement. If you come just to a Christmas trees, you just see Christmas trees. But if you can see other things, like we've got a lot of requests. What's in that pen? What's growing in that quarter-acre area over there? It's blueberries. And it's like, wow. Well, it just keeps creating. It energizes the mind and what can happen. The earth can provide. For these different activities, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. What's irrigation like? Do you have to, for the trees, maybe start with the trees. When you're starting them, do you have to water? And
Usually up to like first 2 years is pretty critical, depending if we get those drought seasons, because we've grown trees when we first started, and it was almost the end of our operation. Is we had like 3 years in the ground, so it's about 1,000 trees a year. So I got 3,000 trees, and we had a drought, and we lost nearly 80%.
oh, wow.
So that's a killer, and so you have to just recoup all that and just keep going. So we made it through. We did put in some irrigation now, so we can water them up to 2 or 3 years to get them over that critical stage of having enough root system to support the tree. So
And
that's
that's
the key
just-
to it.
Just well water? So you guys have a good well out there?
Well, that's good.
That was another selling point. of
I'm
the
sure it
property.
was.
'Cause those can be hard to find in our
We are a
area.
bad-
and
we have a bad
especially
well.
out there past Troy. There's some spots where it's pretty tough to find good water.
We're very, very blessed.
Yeah,
We have a very good well.
very good well.
Yeah, the barn and the well were the two big
The
selling
two-
points.
I understand completely.
Yeah, so we just built that house out there 2 years ago. So it's been, we started planting trees in 2005. And it took us many years. We had 2 kids, Tessa and Cole, and they're out of high school. They're in college, just finishing up both of them. Tessa's over in Bellingham, finishing up her, she's getting her master's in music right now. So,
Wow.
Oh, nice.
and she'll be getting a education certificate, so she'll be able to teach. And then Cole's finishing up in mechanical engineering. But they've been intimately involved growing up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, so
Work on the farm.
a lot of fun, and it's fun. I mean, they're both helping us this year too. So,
Oh, good.
but we'll see if they'll be around after this next 2 years as they
Yeah.
get older and venturing out on their own. So,
So it's
been
seasonal.
fun.
It's certainly seasonal for harvest, right? You've got basically a couple weeks, right, where you're going through and cutting trees and that kind of thing. What's it like the rest of the year? Are there big periods of kind of, well, there's not much to do, or are you constantly pruning? I mean, how does that work in the
but
tree
you're married,
business?
right?
Yes,
Do you have a honeydew list?
maybe it's a short one.
A short one.
You're a blessed man. But anyway, no,
We live on property
we live-
too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we live on acreage, so we're there's always lots
The
to
list
do.
is
Yeah.
long.
Yes.
Even if it's not written.
I work actually. My day job is working for the Nez Perce Indian Tribe.
Oh,
down
really?
in Lapwai, and I work down there in their land management
Okay.
program, agriculture program. So during the week, and that's full time on the farm. So she knows what needs to get done, and there's definitely a little division on who does what out there. And so during the week, Net goes, okay, this needs to be done. So the list grows. See the honeydew list during the week?
Yeah.
Come weekend, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're working all the time pretty much. So
Is it what, like in the summer, are you pruning? Are you working on adding trees? What's the kind of seasonality of it?
Well, January, February is our down months. So those are our,
Okay.
those are kind of
Recovery.
rest, recovery, and all
take
that.
a week or two vacation.
Yeah, we try. But then it's planting season.
Okay.
As soon as that snow is off, it's planting and pruning because we're pruning the blueberries. Those are pruned in March, and and then once planting is done, then it's usually we have about 2 weeks, and then it's blueberries are on, and it's picking blueberries like all morning. I mean, I'm up at 5 a.m. picking because it's so hot during the day.
Yeah.
I got my picking done early, and so pick, and then come mid-July we start pruning.
Okay.
Okay.
As soon as the new growth hardens off, we can start pruning, and that goes. I didn't even finish this year, so I mean
Yeah.
it goes through till the end, till people start coming and cutting trees.
Wow.
So,
Because you're trying to keep them
In that Christmas tree
looking
shape.
like Christmas trees. Yeah.
And what varieties do you grow for your Christmas trees?
we have quite a selection. Our main varieties, I would say, are grand fir, concolor fir, blue spruce, canane fir. Did I say I said concolor, grand. Our new ones that are coming up that I think are going to do really well are Trojan fir and Nordman fir and Turkish fir.
Algerian.
Algerian
We're
fir is a
trying right
new
now.
one. We're trying that one. These are all real drought hardy species from Turkey.
Oh, wow.
And they're beautiful trees, and we don't have to water them.
Oh.
They just do really
Yeah.
well.
And that's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're trying to Algerian, which is a new one we planted this year, and I didn't give them any water. Remember, I said you need to water them, irrigate them up to about
Yeah.
3 years.
Right.
Well, I says let's give them a true test, and I didn't water them, and I probably lost maybe 5%,
Oh, wow.
which is unbelievable. I mean, we had the roots only this long, the top of the tree's that long, so
Wow.
about 8 inches seedling,
Mm-hmm.
and they survived for the most
Wow.
part. So that was a good test, and I think we probably will start increasing that on some of our drier aspects on slopes. So we're pretty much managing our farm now on Christmas trees. We've gotten enough knowledge and experience under our belt now that we're micro-managing different areas, different fields. Some are
Oh.
wetter in the spring, longer.
Yeah.
So there's different species that will actually do a little better on those. So
Okay.
we're maximizing
Yeah.
the land that we can utilize for production on Christmas trees. So.
Do you have to rotate, like with crops, does it sap the soil, or is it not a problem with such, because trees growth is so much longer?
Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you definitely have to manage a little bit on the nutrient side
Okay.
and all that.
Yeah.
So
But for crop rotation, not so much.
It's not like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
not so much.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Such a long
we
rotation.
we're actually rotating because we're saying, okay, that species isn't doing it at that site, so
That makes sense.
we're going to let that come up, we'll harvest, and then we'll start moving in other
Different.
species. So we're constantly doing that. It's kind of
Yeah.
like almost mosaic-y out there the way we are, because we're growing trees on probably just about 10 acres right now
Okay.
on that whole 29 acres that we have.
Okay.
So
And that's around 10,000 trees on 10
Approximately.
acres?
Yeah.
yeah,
About
it'd be
1,000
about
trees
that.
an acre?
Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's amazing.
so we're in full rotation, and it works out pretty well.
So these new species that you're trying out, scent, color, what are they soft on the needles?
Yeah, they're all furs.
Okay,
so
they're all soft.
furs have pretty soft needles. These are a little different than what we think of grand firs. Of course, the one that grows around here, and it's really soft. Like,
Very soft.
Like the needles are soft, but also the branches are soft. It doesn't hold
Hard.
ornaments.
Oh no,
Yeah.
you have to scooch
Yeah.
those ornaments or find the heavy duty branches. We grew up with always doing grand firs.
Yeah, exactly.
Real
Well,
soft,
these
yeah.
new furs that come from overseas are very stiff.
Okay.
So the needles are still soft, but the branches are stiff. So
Nice.
that's good.
Yeah, it is good.
It doesn't
Which is-
smell quite as good as grand fir, but
Yeah.
they're beautiful trees.
Their branches are very stiff, like kind of like a blue spruce is,
Okay.
if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
But they're, it's a fir, so it's soft.
So you're not poking
Versus,
yourself.
yeah, it's not as pokey as a blue spruce. Yeah.
And probably the tree that's requested most from people is a noble fir, which noble fir grows on the coast, doesn't grow here.
Oh,
And so we have to explain to people that they can't grow noble for her. We're too dry. The air's too dry. But the Trojan fir looks most like it. So
Okay.
people have been really happy with the Trojan fir, especially if they want the look of a noble fir. So that's good.
Do you bring any trees in, or is it all trees that are grown right there on your farm?
Yeah, we do bring in a few. We belong to the Inland Empire Christmas Tree Association.
Okay.
So it's a lot of different choose and cut wholesale Christmas tree farms within the region, Inland Empire. And so we have some friends that are a lot bigger acreage, and they play both on the wholesale and also on the retail side. But we have some friends that said, Paul, I got some trees that are getting pretty big. So he says, I'll get you a really good deal on price. So I actually went up and got some of our larger trees, that are 10 to 13 foot.
Oh, nice.
Big grand firs, and I bring in about 70 of them just to fill that niche of those folks that have those big vaulted ceilings.
Yeah.
Or the
and they want to fill
two-story.
some room.
Yeah.
Keeping up with the Joneses, they want the big tree.
Uh-huh.
So we try to have a tree for everybody,
Oh yeah.
and it works out pretty well.
And then you
Yeah.
have the shop out there too.
Yes.
And is that all you, or do you bring in local suppliers?
Oh, it's very little me.
But are you the wreaths?
Yes.
Okay.
My mom and I do the wreaths and all the evergreen arrangements and all that. But we have over 20 local vendors
Oh, that's
that have their
great.
things in there. And it's just amazing, all the talent. And it's just neat to be able to support the community that way.
Absolutely.
So about how many people do you have coming through each Christmas season to cut trees?
We probably have probably close to like 700 to 800 families.
Families. So
Families.
that's families. So times
So-
that by.
Get an average of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
there's a lot of little footprints out there.
I'm
let's say.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's been really surprising about that you've learned over the last few years? That is it either varieties or what people are wanting, or just the experience of selling trees retail that's been surprising you?
I think we have a good business model going, and we knew that diversity, just like people, very diverse. They have different perspectives. They have different value systems, but one common thing is we all like to get along, for the most part, right? And so the Christmas tree farm was a great venture. So we do have quite a different variety of trees. And they all have a different look. They have different characteristics. So it's not, we're not just a monoculture, one tree, that's it. Do you like it or not? And, we want to have something for everybody. So I think that's what we have, a lot of diversity with the trees that we grow, because there's all of us as people are diverse, and they'll have a different thing that they're looking for.
Exactly. And that's what's been so surprising for me, is that everybody has a different idea about what the perfect Christmas tree looks like.
It's true.
And sometimes it changes. Sometimes people come and they're like, we want a fat, full tree, you know, like that's what's in their mind. That's what the perfect Christmas tree is. And then they go up and they come back with this very different tree. And I'm like, it's not what you, okay, that's fine.
That sounds like real estate.
It does. It's true.
A lot of times people say, I want this, I want a house like this with this character. And then like a few months later, well, they bought something completely different.
Yeah.
You get educated by looking. And I feel like that's sometimes our experience too, walking around. And then there's the disagreements of, oh, I like this tree,
Well,
I
and
like
then-
this tree, you like that tree.
I think it's an interesting one because so much personality is involved with it, but how you grew up and then when you get married. Because I think it was probably the first year we got married and we went and did a cut tree on public land, you know, so you get your $5 permit or whatever. I'd never done that before. I don't think ever. Growing up, we always had the fat grand fir.
Yeah.
You know, that was the standard Christmas tree for us. So this was a whole new experience. And so we get it, we bring it back, and then it was so spindly. I think we ended up leaving it on the porch and then giving it away and getting another one at a tree lot that year.
Yeah. We've had a lot of
Yeah.
folks like that. Actually, this year was pretty comical. There was a young couple that came up with their Jeep and they had a spindly tree
Yep.
on
On the
top.
Jeep.
Oh,
And
they
they're-
already
and
had
they're-
it.
And they're coming to our farm.
So they didn't even get home.
And the guy says, I don't think this one's going to, and he looked up at the top of his roof on his car where that little spindly tree is. I don't think this is going to cut the mustard. He says, you want a real Christmas tree? He goes, yes. He says, we got a whole bunch of fields out there full of them. And he says, can you just load that Christmas tree right on top of our spindly one? I says, not a problem. So we just set it right on top. So anyway, there's a lot of humor.
Yes.
And it's really cool that we can see that, you know, people can, you know, we've talked to a lot of people that have been going out to the National Forest to get their tree.
Yeah.
And then they said, let's just try getting one at the farm. And we got them for life, you know. They says, we'll be coming here. This is our new tradition, you know. Just because it's pretty nice because we treat it very much like all the customers are our family. You know, it's a family tree farm. So you can take whatever you want from that. We grew the farm with our family unit, but we're extending it to the community, which is now our family too. And they're treating us as family. So when people come, it's almost like a family reunion. How you doing? The kids are really growing. Holy man, 1 year. You know, so it's a really tight community at HAPS, and you get to know a lot of people across the Palouse and beyond. So we've had people as far as the Tri-Cities coming to our farm now.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
Yes, so they're coming over 3 hours away to come to our farm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. They says we just make it as a daily adventure.
Yeah.
That's
Daily-
amazing.
yeah.
We get up early, we drive to you guys' farm, we get there, we walk around, find the perfect tree, and then they'll
go
do a
into
couple things on
Moscow
the farm.
and
Yeah, they
Just
do a couple
make it a-
things and
make
then
it
they
a
head
day.
home. I mean, it's actually fabulous. It's like an adventure for the day to do with their kids and family. So
Well, and I love how you've done it out there because you do make it not a horribly hiking, you know, or you're stuck somewhere, but you have I'm trying to think through all this stuff, but you've got the 4-wheelers and you have the tarps and you've done a wonderful job of making it enjoyable while you're cutting the tree, and then the
Right.
sleigh for pictures and,
Sure.
you know, the hot
Sure.
chocolate for the kids. And,
yeah, we're just trying to have it. You know, everyone has what they want.
yeah.
So we're actually more of you know,
Service.
we're selling our service more
Right.
than actually our tree.
'Cause it's the
we
whole
want them to have
experience.
exactly what you want, and we can tailor it so easy. If you want to have a little Johnny cut the tree down,
Right.
or do you want to just go market and let us go cut it down for you and bring it in? You can go have complimentary hot chocolate and coffee and cookies and candy canes while we bring it in, and we'll tie it down for you. I mean, it just makes it really nice, relaxing,
Yeah.
and enjoyable. You know, so that's what we're all about. It's really, we're a service-oriented business, totally. I mean, you're buying service, and you get a tree as a bonus.
Yeah.
Basically is our business model. Yeah.
Well, and it really is because that's such a memory for kids, you know, growing up and adults too, obviously. But that just is one of those super special things. Although,
So I've been sitting here trying to figure out how do I break it to you guys that we have an artificial tree
I know.
in our living room.
Can I address?
I figured
So
I'd
we gotta-
wait
we
until
actually just,
after
like,
you agreed to talk and
Before-
we we seem like
admitted to
normal,
this.
pleasant people, but really we're.
If it helps, our friends have been shaming us a lot about this fake tree in our living room.
You know what they say, you got to keep Christmas real. And even the director, and even how you bring everything into par for the reason for the season, you got to keep it real. I'm sorry, plastic's got to go. Leave that in China and go real. I'll help you get a stand. I'll even buy you a stand.
We have a
Christmas.
stand.
Last year was our first year doing it. It was.
It was a crazy year last year because we launched property management.
There's no good excuse.
There really
We're trying
isn't.
to make an excuse.
I know.
but-
And the kids
Keep it real.
actually, I know the kids
It's-
this year were really ready to go get the tree. So I'm sure we will have to next year.
It's the white flock.
It's very fake.
pre-lit,
It's
you
the
know.
white flocked
but-
tree, which I love the look, but it definitely looks fake.
Do you now?
But-
They used to flock real trees,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they
that's
do.
a that's. a
But
thing.
that's
You
just
don't
not
do
a
it. You
thing
don't do it because
really
it's
anymore,
not
is
real.
it?
Not so much.
Do you remember the tinsel too?
Yeah.
Everyone
Okay.
used to put tinsel on. I grew up that way.
Yeah.
And then,
They don't do that
No.
anymore, really. Too
yeah,
much
unless
anymore.
someone's doing the retro.
I
look.
remember
Right.
that. I remember
Yeah.
going to a tree farm or lot growing up and having they were there. They were doing that. They were
Oh, yeah.
flocking trees, and the other thing was that it seemed like, and I grew up in Michigan, bigger metro area kind of thing. It seemed like they always would bind up. What are they? Is
Oh,
that
yeah,
what are they called?
Balaam.
Baling.
Balaam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a thing? Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
kind of gone away, or
No, there's
is
a
that
lot
more
of
of a
farms.
wholesale?
No, many of the other farms do that, but it's expensive equipment. We just
Okay.
haven't got to that point where we can afford to purchase that equipment yet.
Well, and is it more necessary when you're at higher speeds or traveling longer
Well,
distances?
like the majority is coming from Moscow
Yeah.
and Pullman
right.
and on the Palouse, wheat country. They're coming
So
to
we're
Troy,
used to it.
where the trees start, right?
Yep.
So So we haven't invested into it, and
Yeah.
we haven't had a lot of requests for it.
Yeah.
Very little. And a lot of folks, if they're worried about it, like a bigger tree or whatever, and it says, I don't like the wind, driving with hitting the wind at 55 miles an hour or whatever, I says, I can deliver it to you, not a problem.
Oh,
So,
nice. Wow.
So we'll totally do whatever. Like I say, it's like we're just service oriented.
Yeah.
Or they'll bring a tarp, wrap
Oh,
it
okay.
in a tarp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's fine. That works.
'cause
Yeah, I
that
just hadn't
has
really
never
seen
really
it,
been a thing
seen it out
here.
here. But
Yeah,
back
and-
home was like I remember that memory very well when I was a kid. Of having the tree all bound up,
Yeah.
all skinny
yeah.
up on the top of
Yeah.
the car, and then
Yeah.
cutting it off and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and if you go into Spokane, most of the tree farms there will bale it for you. But I don't know. Thankfully,
We're
it's the
small
word.
enough.
We're small enough we can get away with
Without
that.
having to do it.
Yeah. At some point, we'll probably invest in that and go that route.
The nice thing
but-
is like especially with my field crew and stuff, they go, oh, here comes another pickup. Yay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they can just
The
throw it in
tie
the
down
back.
is so easy, right? Boom, you're in,
Yep.
and you're helping the next customer. So with pickups, they're around here, you got a lot of pickups. You're
Yep.
getting a lot less cars. Around, the local folks, they'll come out with a pickup. It makes it easy. So
Yeah.
really, the need for baling it, it's really not necessary.
Yeah.
Well, that's my Catherine's folks every year. Borrow my pickup to go out to the
Yeah.
tree farm.
Well, not every year.
Yeah.
Frequently, we're together with them. It's
Well,
just this
but still
reason.
the pickup.
The
It's
fake
still
tree issue.
they want the pickup.
They did. They took our pickup went out this year to your farm.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
No, there is a definite place for, I guess, the fake tree, kind of. But we have some friends we meet with once a week, and she has it perfectly. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, she's got it kind of has the natural flocking to it, and it just fits
White.
really nice
Yeah.
in the living room. But I think if you have children or you have friends to do something, an activity, go cut your tree, and then you take it from where the tree came from. It's grown from earth, and the good Lord does what He does and makes it spring forth from the earth, and you get to cut that thing, set it in the stand. I mean, every stage of it, when you're doing it together, I think it bonds that traditions in your family or with friends that will have memories forever.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's, again, I remember we used to always go get a tree together as a family. I love that. I mean, it'll be one of their probably top 5 that they'll remember.
Yeah, they don't talk so much about like the trip to the garage to get the box out of storage and then unfold
bend the branches
the
into
the
place.
tree.
That one branch was a little crooked.
Just rebend it.
Well, that reminded me of a memory just popped up on Facebook the other day. One of our early memories or experiences with Christmas trees in our married life was we got a tree, and it was
so
I guess
fat.
it was too fat.
It was too
But
fat.
in any case, there's this picture that keeps resurfacing of me with hedge trimmers
Indoors.
in the living room, shaping the tree so we could get it to fit in the corner.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
No, it happens.
Yeah.
You definitely want some pruners, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
had the electric hedge
The
trimmer.
electric hedge trimmer in
It
the
was
living
pretty
room.
amazing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
It is.
I think it's a perfect business. For us, we work all year. What is it? For 2 weekends, all year. I mean, we don't get paid for our labor when you're a farmer, right?
Right.
But just seeing families come out, and if you can just stop for a moment and just look across the farm, there's people, families together all over, and there's laughter. Where's a business where you're actually outright dead laughter? Kids running around, and they're enjoying themselves. Especially this year with the pandemic,
Oh, yeah.
people need this. It is like mental health for them, and just to get out and just appreciate the great creation God has given us, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's fabulous. Yeah,
Well, and then you're adding that in kind of year round with all these other aspects too.
exactly.
We're being able to go, that's why picking it yourself, adds a whole new
Yeah.
level and appreciation, as you were mentioning before. It adds that level of appreciation that, wow, this came from nothing. It came from the ground.
Yeah.
It's really magical.
It really
and
is.
so,
yeah.
especially with the kids. So that's
It is.
wonderful.
I think it's wonderful. Yeah, it's like I always had that saying of, you ask the question, "Do you eat salmon?" And he says, "Do you know where the salmon comes from?" And the question, the response is from a can. You don't even know really where it comes from.
Yeah.
It's just taking it from, do you know where your Christmas tree come from, and the important role that plants actually have for this beautiful air that we get to breathe, right? Oxygen and all that. It's pretty cool. So we always have the education that goes behind what we do, every aspect. If it's the blueberries, if it's Christmas trees, there's a lot of depth to that. Even when you're harvesting it and understanding that spring forth from the earth, that
Right.
God allows that to happen.
Absolutely.
It's pretty cool. So yeah, we just like to share our farm with the community. Because again, we're all here together.
Well, it's
we
pretty
might as well
special.
enjoy things together.
It's pretty
Absolutely.
special to have
Yeah.
that in our
Yeah.
small community, to be able to have a tree farm.
Right.
Because for a while there, we didn't. As when I was a kid, I feel like it was hard to find a spot to cut for a few years. One of the tree farms locally had some disease go through and wipe out, I think, a bunch of trees, and then another place we'd used to go had kind of just been a side thing. It really wasn't a true tree farm, I don't think. So it's fun to be able to have an option so close and
Yeah.
in a small area. To
So
get to
you
go to.
sold out this year,
We did.
and you started a little early this year.
We did.
So what, looking forward
Yeah,
to
plans
next
for
year, do
next
you
year.
think you'll open early again? Do you think you'll just keep it to those? Is it typically just 2 weekends?
No, we're typically open till Christmas.
Okay.
Till the weekend before Christmas. We will want to be. I mean, that's our plan.
Yeah.
I think this is, I'd be surprised if this will continue like this next year. I
Right.
think maybe it's because of the pandemic and people
Yeah.
just wanting to get out.
But
Yep.
people would normally, you'll have people coming and cutting trees up to right before Christmas? Okay.
Yep. In fact, we've cut trees on Christmas Eve
Oh, really?
before. Actually, last year we had somebody call us on Christmas Day,
Oh.
and they had just moved here, and they had just moved into their house, and they're like, "Can we come get a Christmas tree? We're going to celebrate tomorrow," even though today was Christmas. Anyway,
Right.
It's like, what, it's just like, it is season, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And service oriented, absolutely.
Yep.
If it'll provide a special moment, that memory, we'll do it. That's what we're about. We're about helping,
Yeah.
thinking of others more than ourselves. So
Oh, it's good.
And maybe one last question.
Yeah.
As well, we're
As we wrap up.
running out of time, but how long does a tree last? So once you cut it,
Oh,
how
yeah,
long
some
would
tips.
you, you got to water it, right? But how long what's the kind of shelf life in a living room, typical living room?
I think you could easily get a month out of our tree that's freshly cut right off the stump.
So somebody you're
it's
cutting
treated
right
right.
around Thanksgiving should get
You
you
should
through the
get to
new
Christmas.
year. But if
Absolutely.
you get a little later, you might be able to push that further and
Yeah,
get
we
it out
have,
to 12th night.
there's certain species of trees that we have, like the concolor fir, and I think that one, it could stay fresh nearly through probably February.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, every tree has its characteristics, and for most of all of them we have, they'll stay fresh for a month and a half, not a
If
problem.
if they're
Right.
watered, if
Yeah,
they're not put next to
exactly.
the wood stove,
Yes,
or
the dry atmosphere.
Right.
So what do you recommend with water? So when you get it home, do you say do another fresh cut in warm water, cold water? What do you recommend?
Well, if you're gonna put it up right when you get home, you probably don't need a fresh cut because
Okay.
it'll be fresh cut from the farm. If you're gonna store it in your garage for a day or more, then yes, it'll need a fresh cut. I don't think the temperature of the water is that critical. It's just that it doesn't run out of water. Every day, and it'll drink a lot of water for the first week or so. I mean, a gallon a day. I mean, it'll really go through the water. So it's
Wow.
really diligent about making sure it doesn't go dry. Because if that water level goes down for just a short time, it's
It's
done.
done.
Okay.
And
Wow.
no matter if you fill it up
It
again.
won't start drinking up again. Yeah.
Maybe a little, but it's done. So that's the hardest thing, is making sure that it's keep that water level up, and don't put it next to your furnace or your wood stove because that'll dry it out.
Right.
But if you keep water in it, it'll definitely last through Christmas. And like Paul was saying, the concolor fir, we've had a concolor fir, and I've left it up till February, and it's hard to take it down because it's still green.
It's fresh.
It's fresh. It's green. It will last. I don't know how long it'll last. We have to do an experiment and see how long it'll stay green in the house. But it's an amazing tree.
So is that your pick? Do you guys have one variety that goes in your home every year, or do you
Well,
test different ones?
We got a new one. We put a canane in there. It's a little narrower, but you still got the good height.
Oh.
And it fits perfect by our piano. And I'm kind of a fan of that one.
Yeah,
just
we
because
like that
the
one.
natural shape of it.
Yeah.
It suits the space that we have.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for coming in and for telling us about it, and for allowing us to confess our artificial tree.
Artificial
And
No
promise
bah
we'll be
humbug.
out there next
Well,
year.
we look forward to seeing you out there next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll make sure.
It's about building the memories. It's building memories with your kids and stuff.
Well, thank you guys. We
Thank you
Thanks so much.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks for joining us. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next week.